Hey guys, welcome back. You're watching iAllegedly, and I've got a good one for you today because I got Bob Kudla back, and we were talking, when we were coming down, and I think the theme today is perfect. He said, "Don't be the sucker at the poker table," and that fits a lot of different things right now in life and in business and in the stock market. So, before I get into it, please take a second. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to sign up for our email list and it's the first link below. Okay, but let's get into it, Bob. So much is happening right now with the stock market and with just business in general right now. You start talking about the options market. What do you think's happening with that? And you said the stock market is getting more and more desperate.
Yeah, so what's happening here, you guys watched in January, Tesla went from basically $99 to it hit a high today of $202, and they had to cut their pricing of their cars by 20-30% just to move them off the lot. And basically what you're seeing here is you're seeing a bifurcation, basically a divergence between what's happening in Main Street and what's happening in Wall Street. And they're using a trick, and the trick is the options. And what they're able to do is, and the way it works here, it's kind of behind the scenes. So, when you buy an option, the dealer has to sell an option. And when they sell an option, they don't want to take any risk. They're like a real estate broker. They just want to get a commission. And what they have to do then is they have to buy the shares of the company. So people that are in Wall Street could take a little bit of money, option money, and they're able then to push the shares really high with a little bit of money.
Okay.
And what happens is it's like taking steroids or doing shots. At some point, you get a hangover, because once it's stopped, it requires ever increasing amount of options to levitate the shares.
Yes.
And so we're at a point now where this week's been a lot more choppy because people are realizing they just can't keep doing this, because the people that write the calls are going to ask for more and more money, just like anything else, right? If something's doing really well, you're going to expect more for it. And what happens, it just doesn't come down the same way it goes up. It crashes.
Yes.
And so that's why we've been cautioning people, on our daily podcast, when we just tell people, look, here's all the things that are happening that are not good from Main Street, and they translate into cash flow for businesses. And once that cash flow starts to dry up, and then not to mention cost of capital, right?
Yeah.
Interest rates are going up. Banks can't lend. Banks are losing money.
Absolutely, hand over fist.
Right.
A couple things. Bob's got a daily podcast on YouTube that you guys should check out. I'll make sure the link is below for that. And you mentioned Tesla. One thing that's fascinating is that Elon Musk said he wanted to maintain his market share, and the only way to do that was going to be lower the price. And this is ridiculous. Ford says, well, if they're selling their cars for that cheap, we have to lower the price of our cars, which makes no difference to me. I mean, I don't know why, if one steakhouse is selling something for one price, why the other steakhouse has to do the same thing. It makes no sense. You would think it would be a completely different commodity, a completely different price, completely different product. And that's one reason why Ford's in trouble. Ford's a joke right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, look, Ford's they're going to lay off 25% of their engineers.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they have economies of scale, so at some point they can actually overwhelm a company like Tesla.
Yeah.
Not to mention what's going to happen to Rivian and Lucid. But they're not the only industry, Dan. At 5% money, the home business is dead, construction business is dead. Banks are losing money. That's the other thing people don't know about it. Banks are losing money because they charge interest at 1% and 2% for many years, but their depositors are leaving because they're getting more money in money market funds and bond funds. So they're going to the Fed and they're paying 5% for money now too. So banks have lost $750 billion in the last 12 months. This is unrealized losses.
It's so unbelievable when you think about that. And again, we've talked about this time and again, guys, and that's make sure you have money out of the bank, because there's, when the music stops this time, it's going to stop and it's going to crash hard.
Right.
And, I try to remind people that they need to be out of the market, out of the bank, in such a way that they could live for 10 or 12 days. And people don't think about that. They don't think it's that bad. I just had somebody write me last week that the internet went out for 6 hours.
Right.
And what a chaos that caused, with no banking, no TV, no phones, nothing, because people don't realize how much is you're relying upon with the internet. So
Yeah, and so you have a situation now where probably 60% of the economy is actually in contraction already, and the place where you're going to want to put your money is the same place we've been talking about for a year. Look at energy's holding up, and if China opens back up, inflation's going to go back up. So instead of this pivot that everybody's talking about, we're going to get a double top in inflation,
hmm
and that's stagflation.
yeah,
And the stagflation, and you talk about this for your listeners all the time. Look, you want to be in energy, you want to be in gold, you want to be in silver. Now they're going to take their hits in this first push down, but they're the only ones that are really going to come out of it
right.
on this thing
Again,
coming up.
stagflation is high unemployment, high inflation, and low demand is considered stagflation. Which I'm telling you, what we're in right now is a bad recession, to say the least. Right now, when you look at all these layoffs and all these companies that are getting hit, and Bob's 100% right. Tech been decimated, and there's not an end in sight. What name an industry doing well right now, other than the people that clean up the mess, the bankruptcies, the lawyers that are going to deal with that, the repo people. Those people are doing well right now, but other people are not. And building right now is a huge problem. It's funny. Pulte Homes announced their numbers and didn't release the one key figure, which was how many houses are in inventory right now, unfinished homes that they haven't sold yet. That's a huge figure, and I can't wait to hear that from Lennar and from D.R. Horton, all these other people. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I have customers in that use our service that are in that industry, and what they're saying is if you're in a really red state, you're doing okay because people are bailing out of Chicago, they're bailing out of LA. But like Tucson's doing okay, and Wisconsin homes are doing okay, but the rest of the country is in deep weeds right now.
Yeah.
And so, look, and they're basically lying to you. I mean, we were saying, should we talk about the State of the Union? There's no need to. Everything he said is basically propaganda.
hmm
There's nothing in really out there that's going to help you day to day. You just have to be really cautious. And if you're over 45 and you're making a lot of money, you're on some of these gun sites right now.
Yeah, isn't that terrible? A terrible way to put it.
Yeah.
So Bob runs Trade Genius, which Bob's been doing this for decades. And Trade Genius is an academy where you can learn to trade and buy and sell stocks, like he says, Bob's way. And it's a great method. He's got a great program where you can go online, you can communicate in his chat room with other people. But Bob makes trade recommendations all the time, and I've had a lot of people have a tremendous amount of success following Bob's advice. So, do you have any specials right now? Anything like
Yeah,
that?
we do. We have specials for you, for your
Okay.
folks, Dan. Saturday night, take advantage of our specials. If you go out and we have bundles, we have 7 of them set up. They're already 65% off, pre-discounted for your listeners.
Okay.
And if you don't want to buy anything in a bundle, you can go look, pick and choose anything out of the store. Use promo code WINTER, and you get 45 or 50% off, depending on what the product is, and that's off retail.
That's
So
awesome.
it's gross to net. Really good pricing. Look, what we charge for the service is really nothing what you get out. In addition to what Dan just kindly shared with you, is that we also give you the access to our algorithms and indicators. So this is not guru based; it's math based. We give you access to it, so you can actually trade things
So
that
there's
I may
real
not follow.
people, real, not just robots picking stocks, throwing darts against a wall. This is the algorithm. This is the good stuff, guys.
Yeah,
So
and it's curated, so we watch it too.
the other thing is, you talk a lot about energy. I don't think that energy is going to go down anytime soon. I think this is going to be the way to go in the future, because I think they've kept it down right now and they've suppressed it. And you're going to see things like uranium take off. Everything I've read about this is just going to be explosive. When you see countries that are firing up reactors again, France, Germany's looking at this, Japan is looking at nuclear again. Guys, this is a big deal. This is something that you don't have enough of. And then, with the electric cars and that whole industry right now, we have to have that shoved down our throats. But there is going to be demand for all this stuff as time goes by, plus the metals, plus silver, plus everything else right now.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point, Dan. My personal portfolio is pretty much probably 70% energy. So, and I'm all of the above. So I have natural gas drillers, I have oil drillers, I have a big position in uranium. I agree, uranium's secular.
Hmm.
So for the reasons you just described, and we don't have enough. And people don't realize too, Kazakhstan produces 50% of the uranium out there, and their mines are producing 5% less. And because we have Sprott out there, he likes to buy and hold things.
Eric Sprott.
Eric Sprott, he has a uranium fund, and he has money. And anytime any uranium comes on the market, he's chasing it down before the people that need it for their reactors are getting it. So he's hoarding uranium. And Eric Sprott's probably one of the smartest guys out there.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's. I've talked about him a lot with you guys, with Eric Sprott, with metals, with uranium, and he is just one of the go-to guys for that industry. If you hear about a company that's connected with Eric Sprott, it's usually going places because he's not speculative. He's getting stuff done. He is definitely moving things forward and moving the needle as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, uranium is my number one, and then oil drillers number two. Look, Biden had to say in the State of the Union address that we're with fossil fuels for at least 10 more years. Is a tacit understanding is that, and look how they're in California, we're paying 400% increases in natural gas. We're swimming it out here, but because of the government policies is that we don't store it anymore, we don't drill it anymore. We're at the lowest prices of natural gas on the spot market that we've had since the pandemic began. And we're paying the highest rates out there because of these idiots.
Isn't that criminal? Think about what you just said. So the wholesale, I mean, the price for the product is the lowest it's been, and we're paying more on a retail level because of the way that the regulation and everything else is done to us.
Exactly, and these guys want to get reelected in 2024. So you're starting to see a big, backward moonwalk here by Biden and Newsom here, because they know this thing is going to hit them in the head. And when China opens, guys, they have to refill the SPR, number one. And number two is that we're not producing as much here in the United States.
Strategic Petroleum Reserve. You guys, at time of war, at time of complete market upheaval and shenanigans is when you dip into that. You don't dip into that to get, at a midterm election like they did. It was horrible that they did that. And that's what we're up against right now. But guys, the other thing is that we've talked about gas around the country easily hitting $4 a gallon again. And that's catastrophic, which means it would be $7 here. So that's what we have to look forward to.
Yeah, and people ask me all the time, are you worried about this stuff? And the answer is no, because you can't change these things, so you have to learn how to either outrun them or change your lifestyle to accommodate them. And so I prefer to outrun them because I enjoy my lifestyle, and that's one of the reasons why we did Trade Genius, and one of the reasons why you do your show, is to help give people coping tools so that we don't have to be victims here. These guys aren't smarter than we are; they're just more notorious. And if we can educate you on what the games that they're playing, is you could beat them at their own game, because we're smaller and nimbler. And so tremendous opportunities for us all in 2023. I think on the political front, I think we're winning. And I think that'll translate into advantages for us in the out years, but we kind of got to get through 2023 first.
But you're going to see, there's huge problems with families with energy. I mean, energy prices are a huge problem because I don't care. A guy that works for me showed me his gas bill from a year ago, and for 2 months it was $100. For these 2 months it was $360. He's like, I can't afford this, and that's air. Now he has to heat his house. It's not particularly cooler this year. It's just his little one-bedroom apartment, and that's too much money. It really is.
It is, and they're forcing everybody in heat pumps, and so electric bills are going up too.
Absolutely.
Yes,
the other thing is food. And do you ever bet on look at like egg producers and meat producers and things like that? Are those ever good stocks to look at?
Yeah, you have to catch them counter-cyclical because by the time it gets into the news cycle, those have already moved. The good news is that egg wholesale prices have collapsed this week, so maybe we're past that. But there's companies out there like ADM out there that they're a proxy for food inflation. I just have it in my portfolio, and just to protect myself from inflation.
Step that up a little bit. A proxy for food inflation. What does ADM do?
That's Archer Daniel Midlands.
Okay.
They are the biggest producer / wholesaler. Like farmers sell them product, and they value add it.
Okay.
Or they also store it. They transport it. Like they'll turn soybeans into 16 different products.
Wow. Okay.
They'll turn, wheat into 10 different products, for downstream
Yeah, so
customers.
that would be a great company to be involved with when
Yeah, it's low, it's low risk, and if you fear inflation, it's going to go higher. And they also have an ethanol component in it too. So as energy prices go up, they're going to get a kicker on it too. I owned it for a long time, and you could do what's called a call writing program on that, which means that you can sell options against what you own. It continuously bring your costs down. If you do it right, over 4 years, you can bring your costs down to nothing.
wow.
Your basis.
Again,
Yeah.
the advantage to Trade Genius, guys, is that he can answer all these questions. You get access to him, and when he's, that's the one thing that people have been amazed is that Bob's in the chat room. So that's always cool to be able to have access to you.
Yeah,
So
I enjoy it very much.
So food's a big deal. Let's see what else. The builders. Do you think the builders right now? I think that they're going to fall more myself before we see the bottom for the builders yet.
There's no way out. If they don't pivot this year, Dan, there's no way out because they don't. No bank's going to lend them money. I know people in this industry that lends to builders. They're not lending to builders. It's verboten. Commercial. If you bring a commercial deal to your risk manager, they're likely to get fired if you're at a bank.
Wow.
And multifamily homes are now, there's too many of them. So you're starting to see good news for people. You're starting to see weakness there, but there's nothing to build. Once this current inventory, remember, there's a 3 or 4 lag time. Guys are committed to these projects, but in 2 years, when these projects are built out, they're not going to be sold. And what they're going to do, they're going to dump all these products onto the rental markets.
Yes.
But they'll still probably lose their product.
Yeah, we've seen so many, back in 06, 07, and then right before 08, when we saw that build up and things started to fall apart, you saw these homes in Orange County and these condo units that couldn't sell, and now they're rented out.
So Dan, right over here, 1 block from where we're talking, in 2009, you could buy them for $115,000 each, and now they go for $800,000. That's how much they crashed.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and this is Dana Point. This is a beautiful, beautiful city too. So, yeah, I just think that there's thousands of realtors every month that are quitting. I'm done. Realtors are not paying their own rent right now at a staggering pace where it's over 40% right now. So that's unbelievable. When you look at the retail debacle that we're seeing, that's a nightmare. You look at Amazon, Microsoft, all these other places that are going down. Microsoft, their campus, they have a 90-acre campus they were building, put it on hold indefinitely. So we're going to wait a year. They're not going to build it right now until anytime soon. So that's crazy when you have things like that happening to business as a whole.
Well, and look at Google, with these new, it's called decentralized search is coming, because you're going to see a proliferation of these AI engines coming out.
GPT, and then Google just announced Bard, B-A-R-D, and then today Microsoft said that they're going to have Chat GPT in the Bing search. So this is changing things, guys. It really is, and it's also from a writing standpoint, from a white collar standpoint, it's going to eliminate jobs when that happens.
Well, there's a customer, the company out there that does articles. They laid off their entire journalism staff, and they're using Jasper.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have AI write their stuff. I mean, the bad news is that one idiot that runs the program, we're gonna get his version of the world.
Yeah.
But these guys are just gonna get rid of. I mean, you're talking people making a lot of money are losing their jobs, and they're being replaced either by automation or they're gonna offshore this stuff again, and so they're basically wiping out. Everybody thought the blue collar guy is going to get wiped out. It's going to be the white collar guys that are going to get wiped out. When I say guys, I mean euphemistically, guys and gals.
But I really think that there's been hundreds of thousands of layoffs already this year. And one thing that we were talking about earlier was the exit packages for Google, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, and there's one more in there too. That it was $4.6 billion in exit packages. Think about paying people $4.6 billion in exit money. That's better than keeping these employees around. That is crazy when you think about that, because what's going to happen is going to be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, what they're doing is they call it right sizing. I was in the corporate world. Right sizing means we're going to lay a bunch of people off, we're going to try to get through the next quarter's earnings report so we can look good. That's why the January bump. And then what they're going to do if the economy comes back, they're not going to hire these people back in the U.S. They're going to hire them back in Mexico and India and China and Taiwan. And basically, we just cut another swath of disposable income out of the country.
So, okay, let's take a step back. Everything that's getting cut back, all the building, all the commercial building that hasn't collapsed yet, because when you talk about office buildings being at 50% occupancy, that is horrible, guys. That is the kiss of death. That is the mortgage is not getting paid in the building, to say the least. You have to, and that's the thing. I've had landlords explain to me in great detail what it takes to run a commercial building. People think, oh, you have electricity and you make sure some guy mows the lawn, and there's so much more to it than that. And imagine losing money month after month after month, and that hasn't even collapsed yet, and it's going to. So what about the builders? Do you ever like to bet against industries yourself?
Yeah, I do a little bit. It's you know, you can do with ETFs and you can buy puts and buy calls. We do occasionally do that, but you can still make a lot of money. My biggest bet on the short side is a company called SARK. It's Kathy Wood's company. So it wiggles around enough that we can make money trading it, and that's being short the tech. Basically, you're shorting Tesla plus a bunch of tech companies without having to take on that short risk. And the other thing that's going to happen is, you know, probably when he does pivot, I think he's not going to pivot till the end of the year.
Elon, are you talking Elon Musk?
No, not Elon Musk. Jerome Powell.
Jerome Powell. Okay.
And once that happens, then you know you're actually going to want to own bonds, believe it or not, and you'll probably make 50 to 100% on your money there. So we're focusing on those two areas, but every day we find something long to buy, because remember, we could be in and out in 2 or 3 days.
Yes.
And so there's opportunities coming up. Like today, the market was yesterday, the market was down, but energy got a lift. So there was energy names to buy. The day before was these bulk shippers, because they're expecting the opening of China. Well, they popped up. So our algorithm sees these things. So we go in there, we set a stop, we set a target, we give it to our subscribers, and then I watch it too, because I'm more likely I'm trading it too.
It's fun doing what Bob does, because you live this stuff, and you're easy to find when the market's open. I'll tell you that. That's one thing.
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
So okay, so as far as shipping, as far as you know, what do you think about like the hotel stocks and entertainment? I still think that we're in for, you know, this hotel is busy today, but I think that we're in for a tough ride this summer. I think that people are not going to have the money this year to travel like they did in the past, and the COVID money is definitely done. And then you get, hey, the wife lost her job, but the husband didn't. You're going to see a lot of people go through a difficult time right now. Yeah,
so my wife's business that she owns is tied to people traveling. And we were just remarking on it that things were really, really strong for her clients until after Thanksgiving. And then Christmas usually drops off because, you know, people are home for the holidays, a lot of them. But January, the business was atrocious.
Okay.
And February's picked up just a little bit. So we're going to see if it comes out, because we had a lot of rain here and stuff like that. Maybe people didn't travel. But, you know, we have a kind of a spidey sense on these things.
Yeah.
And judging from what I'm seeing with trading all the time, I said, I bet your business is down 25-30% this year.
Wow.
So,
wow. But see, that's the thing. If you can see, you can make an adjustment for that. And that's what I always tell people, is to take a look at it. People make the mistake of advertising more, throwing more money after good money after bad, and don't sit there and say, hey, this may need be a time to do something different. But don't, guys, stay out of debt. Stay out of borrowing money, getting huge car payments, doing nonsense you don't need to do. That is the best thing you can do for yourself and for your personal finances, your business. But man, look at where things are at. Don't just think, hey, spring's always busy, it'll pick up then, because it may not pick up this year. So
no, I agree. I mean, you know, the thing you have to look at is the big winners out of this are the people who survive the winter of economic decline. And once you do that, then you're in a position to take advantage of. So having cash right now is not a bad strategy. And then, like you say, if you do hit and run trading like us, I'm not talking about day trading. You know, you're in trades a couple days. You know, if you make 3% a week, you're making 150% a year. So you don't have to make a whole lot of money.
Yeah, you've told me about people that have made, you know, $100 a day, and at the end of the year they're making a lot of money. And that's the problem, is people getting these meme stocks and they want to make I want to make $10,000 by lunch, and that's not the way it works.
Yep, you do it until you get your head taken out.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so let's. You want to throw anybody a bone right now? Anything that you think is hot right now? You talked energy today. The builders we're going to stay away from. What about metals? Anybody in the metals arena that you think is
Yeah,
good?
no,
Like
I
that?
think if the CPI report comes in hot next week, I think we're seeing bear flags in the gold and silver miners right now. So
Okay.
kind of stay away from those. Right now, if somebody put a gun to my head, Bob, you have to put 100% of your money into something, it would be in uranium.
Okay. And
So
you've said that I think the last 2 months. I think you said that to me. So
yeah,
so uranium it is, guys. Any uranium plays that you think are good right now?
yeah. Look, there's a United States one called Quad U. They're protected now. They're on the Endangered Species Act of producers, or where the government is protecting them from competition. The government's buying their product,
Really?
and so that's a good company to own. And it's trading at like $7. My target on it long term is 20, but I think in the next 2 or 3 months it goes from $7 to $11.
Wow.
Nice to afford.
See, that's the thing. People see that's a great profit, Bob. I mean, $7. You put a few $1,000 in it, and it goes from 7 to 11. That's great. But the problem is, people go, "Well, I want it to go to 70." They want to 10x their money, and
Yeah.
it can't always happen. So
Right. That's the thing. Like what a thing like Tesla does, people think that's normal, and it's not normal. And you have to stay away from that. That it's a bad habit to get into. We always joke to say the worst thing can happen to somebody when they trade is that their first trade they make a lot of money because they think it's normal.
my dad said that was the same thing going to the racetrack the first time, watching me win. He was, "This is the biggest mistake of your life." And
Yeah.
no, I hate losing money.
No, but I like that one a lot. And if China opens up, you're going to want to own the shipping companies. And one we just traded in and out of, it still went up again today, was BDRY. It's an ETF, which is an exchange traded fund, and they're dry bulk. That means they're moving product around that people need to live on.
Okay.
Think dry stuff, wheat, coal, steel, iron ore,
All that stuff that's important.
all that stuff's important. And so they've been getting a bid. And anytime anybody in the shipping space are paying 8 to 10%. Here's another one that I love. It just made a move, so I may have to pull back a little bit. It's called Dorian LPG. Pays a massive dividend. It's like 20%. But
Wow.
they move liquid petroleum. It's different than natural gas. It's like propane, liquid
Okay.
petroleum product. Well, they kind of own that market.
Do you know the ticker symbol for that?
Yeah, LPG.
LPG. Okay.
And so they pay a huge dividend. And I recently did a buy on it at, I think it was 16 or 17. It went up to 22. I got out, went to 23. Now it's down to 21. If it gets to 19 again, I'm a buyer. But even if you like, "Oh, I'm too impatient, I'm going to buy it, and then hold it for 3 years, because you're likely to get probably half your money paid for in dividends down the line."
That's crazy.
So yeah. So if you're nervous and you want something that pays divvies, my wife just told me the other day, she goes, "Allocate our portfolio. We need more dividend stocks because so we could ride out this mess." I agreed with her. That's one of them that's going back in the portfolio as soon as it gets down to $19, $20 again. Or if it makes a new high, then I'll FOMO in, which means fear of missing out. Because
Okay.
that means I was wrong and the market wants it to go higher. But anybody in that space is really good too. And probably in the next 6 weeks, they're going to have to start injecting natural gas back into storage. So you're going to see companies like Devon Energy, DVN, and companies like Southwestern Energy, SWN. They're going to probably get some good 15-20% moves in them.
That's great.
And they're tradable. So you trade those. You don't marry them. And then also yeah, that's pretty much it. Next time we talk, I'll have some more names, because
Cool.
spring will be coming, and then it'll be a shift into new seasonals.
Well, guys, again, don't forget to take a look at Trade Genius. The link is below. Use the discount code WINTER and to save up to 65%. He's got all the bundles and everything. And I mean, you and I could do this for 3 hours. So every time I love doing this. I love having you on speed dial, brother. It's the greatest thing ever. But again, guys, please don't forget the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Look at Bob's daily podcast as well, and for Trade Genius. And check the link below, guys, because you can get information on trading the stock if this stuff interests you. Onward and upward, guys. We will see you very soon.
Great. Thanks for listening.